project, but nobody's helping me. I don't have supplies. What am I gonna do? And there's no time, and I can't. I can't. Oh my gosh! And you want to help me with this U.S. Studies project? Yeah, of course you do. Yeah, of course you do. Come on.
But I'm sorry, man, but I gotta get back to class, man. But I have to go to the bathroom.
I said you're helping me with this U.S. study project.
But can I at least go to the bathroom first?
No.
Let's do some research.
So we're researching presidential administrations.
Yeah, the last 5 years.
Oh, you mean the guy who came in after the people also faded Democrats?
yeah, the guy who came in after the Democrats ordered an attack on the captured ship that had already been moderated.
Oh, and the one who came in after the economy had taken hit under the watch?
Yeah. I'm a Democrat, actually.
Yeah.
Born and raised in a small Illinois town, Ronald Reagan would grow to become a Hollywood actor throughout his 20s before joining politics. From 1957 to 1975, Reagan served as the governor of California. Due to the public's lack of faith in the Democratic Party, the election was a landslide, resulting in Reagan taking office in 1980 as the 40th President of the United States. This also marked the re-emergence of conservatism. The 4 pillars of President Reagan's domestic policy were to 1. Reduce the growth of government spending, 2. Reduce the federal income tax and capital gains tax, 3. Reduce government regulation, and finally 4. Tighten the money supply in order to reduce inflation. His policies stressed conservative economic values, beginning with the implementation of supply-side economic policies, aka Reaganomics, to supporters and detractors. President Reagan's policy included the largest tax cut in American history, as well as increased defense spending as part of his Soviet strategy. He significantly raised taxes 4 times due to economic conditions and reforms. As a result, these reforms brought the top marginal rates to their lowest level since 1931. And to put into perspective how bad this was at the time, by 1988, the end of Reagan's term, the top U.S. marginal tax rate was only 20%. The foreign policy of the Reagan administration was characterized as a strategy of peace through strength, followed by a warning of relation with the Soviet Union. It also resulted in the end of the Cold War when Mikhail Gorbachev rose to power in the Soviet Union. During the presidency of Ronald Reagan, 12,000 striking air traffic control workers were fired. The first woman was appointed to the Supreme Court bench. Her name was Sandra Day O'Connor. President Reagan believed in federalism, meaning free markets, and passed policies to encourage the development of private business. And finally, President Reagan accelerated the nation's war on drugs.
Hey man, the Berlin Wall just fell over.
Whoa. To think, after all this time and competition, there will be no more senseless violence, no more conflict.
This is up. Didn't hear about that peace treaty, did you? No.
George Herbert Walker Bush was born on June 12, 1924, in Milton, Massachusetts. In 1948, he would graduate from Yale University and marry Barbara Bush, whom he would have 6 children by. Having previously served as vice president under President Reagan, George H.W. Bush reinforced the conservative values that his predecessor had established. Although many critics agree that Bush brought dedication to the White House, many believe that he was ignoring the domestic politics and focusing too much on the international agenda. His two most successful domestic initiatives were the Americans with Disabilities Act and the Clean Air Act amendments of 1990. The most damaging criticism of Bush's domestic policy was the widespread belief that Bush himself did nothing to fix the ailing economy. It was felt he did not care about what mattered most to the many Americans. Bush faced a changing world as the Cold War ended after 40 bitter years. The Communist Empire broke up, the Berlin Wall fell, the Soviet Union ceased to be, and Mikhail Gorbachev resigned. In light of these changes, Bush supported democracy in the Soviet Union as a group of new nations in this area emerged. During his presidency, George H.W. Bush sent American troops into Panama to overthrow a corrupt regime of General Manuel Noriega. Noriega threatened the security of the Panama Canal and Americans living there. He was brought to the U.S. for trial as a drug trafficker. When Iran's President Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, he threatened to move into Saudi Arabia. Bush sent American troops in an attempt to free Kuwait. This battle was called Desert Storm.
Hey, Bran! Clinton just had an affair with one of the White House staffs.
Zach, what are you smoking, man?
No, look! No, look.
Yeah, I tap that.
No, what are you smoking? Oh. Okay. Oh boy. Oh well. Oh, this is actually her.
God! Clinton, what did you do?
William Bill Clinton was born on August 19, 1946, in Hope, Arkansas. He would go on to earn a Rhodes Scholarship, which would allow him to attend Oxford University. In 1978, he received his law degree from Yale Law School. It was here he also met fellow law student and future spouse Hillary Rodham. They would marry in October 11, 1975, and have one child together. The same year he earned his degree, Clinton would be elected governor of Arkansas. In 1993, President Bill Clinton took office under the ideals of improving health care, cutting the federal deficit, aiding families, and increasing gun control. As promised, his main focus was on the American people and the economy. Noticing that the national debt was increasing by billions of dollars per year, Clinton proposed a deficit reduction plan to Congress in early 1993. This plan was aimed towards lowering interest rates, which Clinton believed to be one of the main problems regarding the issue. Of course, this action would not be so easily achieved. About half of the government spending was directed towards programs such as Social Security, Medicare, and veteran benefits. These were programs that many citizens heavily relied on. This resulted in President Clinton being forced to raise taxes. This new action was the complete opposite of one of the ideals he had promised while campaigning, and was very unpopular amongst the public, as well as the Republicans. Not to mention these taxes were not only raised, but implemented in new things such as oil, gasoline, etc. Regardless of this, Clinton met many of his domestic policy goals, including stimulating the economy, reforming welfare, and advocating for social change. He did not, however, achieve a national healthcare system. President Clinton had also promised to crack down on crime during his campaign. He strongly endorsed new gun control laws, despite opposition from many Republicans and the National Rifle Association themselves. The Democrats in the Congress, though, were able to pass a gun control law known as the Brady Bill. It was named after James Brady, President Reagan's press secretary, who was badly injured by a shotgun assassination attempt on the former president. Luckily, Clinton's second term of office oversaw one of the nation's strongest periods of economic growth. He supported deregulation of the telecommunications, agriculture, and broadcasting industries. He also implemented welfare reform by signing into law and conservative policy to move many welfare recipients into the workforce and imposed more limits on benefits. The new reform increased funding for food stamps, job training, and childcare. Clinton spent much of his foreign policy on conflicts in the former Yugoslavia, East Timor, Northern Ireland, and the Middle East with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. During the presidency of Bill Clinton, he assumed office after the fall of the Soviet Union and the end of the Cold War. He was forced to confront numerous international conflicts. He had to decide whether the U.S. would be a world superpower and should have a say in the conflicts of violence occurring in Somalia, Rwanda, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Kosovo, and even Haiti.
Where he is? Where is that? There he goes. There. What is? Ah! Oh my God! Zach, what are you doing? The Twin Towers just fell over. Dude, we live like 3 counties away. There isn't any tremor.
That's just it though. The shock of it all is just killing me.
Whatever. Mr. Klinger, you got any aspirin?
George Walker Bush was born on June 6, 1946 in New Haven, Connecticut. One out of 6 children, George W. Bush was born to George H. W. Bush, who would soon serve as president himself. Bush had a unique self-described political philosophy that he dubbed as compassionate conservatism. Upon achieving presidency, George W. Bush would support the enactment of a tax cut, the No Child Left Behind program, and a strategic defense system. His domestic agenda reflected a change in ideology. Bush gained popularity for his bipartisanship and basing much of his domestic policy on principles of limited government, local control, strong families, and personal responsibility. He took on reforms in education, federal taxes, Medicare, and conservation. The foremost task of Bush's domestic agenda was finding a way to balance the economy. By 1990 to 1991, the federal debt had managed to climb to up to $3 trillion. The country was in the midst of a mild recession, and unemployment was rapidly rising. The Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act of 1990 called for a tax hike on Americans in addition to increased spending on assistance programs. President Bush's foreign policy included support for a stronger economic and political relationship with Latin America and Mexico. The events of September 11, 2001 would transform President Bush, though, into a wartime president. Nearly 3,000 American lives were lost that day when terrorists dive-bombed 2 airplanes into the World Trade Center and Pentagon. Bush responded to this event by forming a new cabinet level called the Department of Homeland Security. He also retaliated by sending American forces into Afghanistan and Iraq to break up the Taliban and assault their respective terrorist leaders. His most controversial act, however, was the invasion of Iraq, on the belief that Iraqi President Saddam Hussein posed a grave threat to the U.S. Saddam was eventually captured, but the disruption of Iraq and the killing of American soldiers and friendly Iraqis became the challenge of the Bush administration in his second term. During the presidency of George W. Bush, many events occurred, but the attack of 9/11 and the subsequent war of Afghanistan and Iraq cast a dark shadow over his 2-term presidency.
Hey Brandon, the first black president just got elected.
Shut up.
Nah man, I'm serious.
No, I mean, actually, shut up. I'm sleeping here. Did you say the first black president was elected?
The first.
Woo! Also, guess what, dude? I just finished editing our project. Yo! Oh, yeah!
Yo!
Yeah. So I guess that means you're free to go, man. You can use the bathroom or whatever.
Oh no, man. I went ages ago.
Oh, okay. And in that case, what's tomorrow?
Sabato.
Sweet. In that case, we should go check out that new Butler movie that just came out. I heard it's has this new black president to speak of.
Barack Obama was born and raised in Hawaii to a white American mother and a black Kenyan father. He received his degrees from Columbia University and Harvard Law School. In 1992, Obama worked as a community organizer in Chicago when he met and married Michelle Robinson. They now have 2 daughters. The first African-American president, Barack Obama would support the enactment of the Affordable Health Care Act, the Common Core, and ending the war in Iraq. President Obama was responsible for the Affordable Health Care Act, officially entitled the Patient Protection and Affordable Health Care Act, or Obamacare. It is a U.S. law that reformed both healthcare and health insurance industries in America. What it does is allow the law to increase the quality, not to mention availability and affordability of private and public health insurance to over 44 million uninsured Americans through regulations, taxes, mandates, and subsidies. Some of Obama's other initiatives include the Lilly-led Better Fair Pay Act for Women and Secretary of Education Ann DeVoe's Race to the Top program. These created a competition among states for over $4.5 billion in extra funding tied to public school reforms authorizing more charter schools. The foreign policy of the Obama administration has been fairly progressive, with the New START nuclear arms reduction treaty negotiated with Russia and the ongoing trade negotiations with China. During the presidency of Barack Obama, NATO interventions occurred in Libya, American troops withdrew from Iraq, and the al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden was finally executed.
Hey, Brandon, did anybody introduce me to that Jamaican girl? I think she's real nice.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. You know, somebody's the best.
I'm surprised I'm not deaf by now. Yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Me and Zach poured our heart and soul into that. Well, mostly me, because I had to type up all the facts and pretty much everything else. But yeah, if you notice, I kind of uploaded it a day late, and then kind of re-uploaded it again now. And that's because I had to get it in. Pretty much, I uploaded it on the last day of school, so I had to get that in just in case my teacher was able to actually check that, even though he wasn't. But yeah, now I'm re-uploading it with the little touch-ups that the study time videos are famous for, or not, but known for at this point. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Like I've said before, if you haven't heard already, I'm not going to be around for a while because I'm uploading on the Believers channel, the group channel with me and my buds. So yeah, check that out. I will return probably midsummer. I don't know if I can promise the main series videos, because that's something we need to work on, and I need to negotiate with them. But in the meantime, the shorts should tide you guys over. So yeah. Bye.